What's up everyone? Today's video we're going to talk about 529s and investing for your child's college education. I'm just going to go over a few things to be aware of that I've seen from being a financial advisor working at Morgan Stanley, Charles Schwab, and E-Trade. Typically it's best not to go through your advisor to get a 529 for your child because most of them will tack on a 1% fee to the 529 on top of the fees that you pay within it. This is something that you can just set up on your own, so you don't really need the help of your advisor. Just handle it yourself because you're gonna save yourself some money in the long run. But first, before we get too far into that, what is a 529? This is an account that is used to save for college. Now, you put money in here. This money is not tax deductible, so you don't get to write this off on your taxes. But all the growth that you see throughout the years isn't taxed on if that money is used to pay for college. That's the huge positive of a 529. You get to put this money aside. It gets to grow as it's invested, and then the money gets to be pulled out and used for college without being taxed. The limits are pretty high for 529s, so most of us don't have to worry about maxing that out. You can have friends and family contribute to that as well for gifts or things throughout the year. So that's a nice little perk too. So I'm gonna link below a good site as a reference on getting you started. I like the Utah plan because the fees are really low, and I live in Florida. If your state doesn't have income tax, then you don't get the extra perk that some states have with 529s. So if your state does have income tax, take a look at the article and go with your state's 529 if it makes sense for you. But if your state doesn't have income tax like Florida, then you're free to go with any 529 provider that you want. Now, what to do once you get your 529 opened. So you open this account in your child's name, you're gonna be asked to choose some investments. So don't get overwhelmed with this. You can go with a target date fund that is lined up for when your student is expected to enter college. So what they'll do is they'll start out very aggressive in the beginning if your child's young, and then as the years go, that account gets more and more conservative as they approach needing it for college because they don't want to have too much money at risk when they're going to need those funds in the next few years for school. So those funds automatically do it for you. It's really easy. Just pick a date that matches up with your expected graduation date and start putting money in on a regular basis. And then if your child decides not to go to college, well, that money can be transferred to a sibling or a relative without any penalties. If they decide to pull that money out, then there is going to be a penalty and they're going to have to pay tax associated with that as well. So hopefully this is something that you use if your kid does actually want to go to school. But life happens, things change, so there is some flexibility in what you can do with the funds. One thing to remember when deciding to invest for your child's education is how are you doing in investing for your own retirement? Because you have to remember that retirement cannot be financed. You can't reach retirement and borrow money from anybody to help you out through retirement. But your child can borrow money to attend school. They can find scholarships and grants and work through school to help pay that bill. But if you sacrifice everything along the way to help them get to college and then you yourself aren't set up for retirement, it's really not a good place to be. So if you haven't taken care of yourself and set up your own retirement accounts and gotten on a really good path with that, gotten yourself out of debt, then I would not be investing for your child's college education yet. I would definitely say make sure you're out of all of your bad debt, your credit card debt, any high interest debt that you have. Make sure you've got money set aside for your retirement. You don't have to have your retirement fully funded, of course, but if you've got a good path, meaning you're setting aside a good amount of money and then you still have some money extra left over that you can afford to put towards your kids' college education, then I would say you're in a good position to invest in a 529 and start tucking money away for your kids' college. But make yourself a priority first so that they don't end up taking care of you when you're in retirement. They will figure out college on their own and it will actually help them build some character too. I had to pay for my own college and I'm doing just fine. So it's not the end of the world if you can't do this for your child, because a lot of people can't, and it's okay. We all have a certain amount of dollars to work with and we can't do it all. So come up with a list of priorities, and saving for your kids' college education doesn't have to be number one unless it's just like the most important thing for you. But keep that in mind. Don't forget to subscribe if you like getting money tips and money advice, and hit the notification bell so you know when my next video comes out, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.